Come on in, come on in. You're now chiefing with the chief. Chief Pontiac, Rod Hayes up in here, up in here. I got a message for the tribes and a message for my sisters. I'm going to give y'all a couple minutes while I light my blunt for some people to get in here. And then we're going to take off. What's going on? Also, Big Bear. Mira. Yeah. Come on in, come on in. Oh, shit, I forgot to get my drink. I'll wait till about halfway through. Hopefully I don't start coughing and need something to drink when I start smoking my bleezy. People be thinking that they don't be knowing how good this weed be when I be coughing. They just think I got fucking the flu, the cold, congested lungs. I'm good. But this stuff that my little brother and them be giving me be that done die-yow. Yo, booyah. Booyaka, booyaka. I'm still high from last night. Give y'all a couple more minutes. I'm going to go grab my drink just in case before I light this blunt. I don't want to be in here hacking and coughing too bad where I can't. Yeah. Go on, roll up, y'all. While y'all roll up, I'm going to go up here, grab me something to drink. Take but a second. And fix my backdrop. Okay. Go ahead and roll, Keisha. I got you. Pour my drink now. I don't know what I got with apple juice. But me and apple juice got this thing. Well, I'm trying to cut back on the other stuff. I don't be drinking that motor oil. What they call it, that fire water. Alcohol don't do us right. Puff, puff. Yeah. All right, let's get in here. Let's get in to the proceedings this evening. This was literally some Johnny on the spot. Go tell him this right quick. It's not going to be long, but I'm going to take some Q&As so we get like an hour and a half in. But by this being the, because they will oust that male if his ass get wrong. So, let me get in here. Let me tell y'all something. The first time I smoked Blue Lotus in my, I've been smoking roses for years, buds and roses. Now I'm smoking buds and lotus. Let me tell you something. That Blue Lotus started talking to me the other day when I was smoking it. And the sister called to trigger it. When she was asking me stuff, it was sending me to the receipts that she was talking. And as I was going to the receipts, the damn Blue Lotus was telling me, don't forget the Blue Lotus ceremony at the gathering for the sisters. I'm like, the Blue Lotus ceremony? I don't remember reading about the Blue Lotus ceremony. Let me look up and see if this shit real or if I'm hallucinating from the shit I'm smoking. I go in and pull it up. Show shit stank. It was a Blue Lotus ritual. And the sister had triggered so many downloads. The connection between Bast, Sekhmet, and Tefnut. I knew that Bastet was the main apprentice to Sekhmet. But I had forgot that Tefnut was also out of the house of Sekhmet, the lion goddess. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, why in the hell, what do Tefnut got to do with them two? Which was the three sister matrix. So I'm like, what the hell? So I go look it up. I said, what's the zoo type for Tefnut? Now, you know the earth is on Shu and me in resonant frequency right now. And it's supposed to be on the Shu and Tefnut resonant frequency. Tefnut is the moisture of the air. So I'm like, what's her zoo type? Sure as shit stank, her zoo type was goddamn lion. That means that she was more closer to Sekhmet than Bastet. And Bastet is her like her main apprentice, or so I thought. So that would mean that Tefnut and Sekhmet would be equals in their power, because both of them are sisters, they daughters of Ra. I was like, whoa. So I'm still learning. I don't know it all. I do not know it all. Yeah, so anyway, it's an eclipse coming up. Sometime leading up to this eclipse, the women gotta announce the date for the event between today and the eclipse. So, so the healing ritual is a later. It's like the mothers got stuff to do in the interim. And when the mothers is taking care of their business, the clan mothers, across the land, around the world. This is not local, but it's going to start local for the ones of us that's here. So, my dog's making a strange bark outside I ain't never heard before. They sound like they talking. But look, so I was reviewing today. I was reviewing some paperwork that I was preparing for Empress to read. And while I was reviewing it, I had my tablet reading it out loud. I was standing in my backyard with the dogs, and out of nowhere, 3 blue jays. They was listening to what I was playing, and they just started making all kind of noise. Right? So for those who don't know, the blue jay is the bird of justice in the tribal rankings. When you see the blue jays come, especially if it's more than 2 of them, they normally be 1, or every now and then you'll see 2, but to see 3 is an anomaly. And at the part that I was listening to was talking about the power of the 3 sisters activation. So they up there raising all this hell. I look up there, it's 3 blue jays. So that let me know that nature is telling me that the path we on is the correct path according to nature. But man's perspective, we overlook nature because we think we smarter than nature, we think we bigger than nature, and we think we know way more than nature. Nature been here before we was, and we don't be remembering that. Right? Like they gave us Chronos as Father Time. You know who's older than Chronos? Mother Time, Mother Kali Ma. Mother Kali Ma is the construct of time itself, is her anatomy. And our ability to map time is based off the circadian rhythm of the earth, which matches the circadian rhythm of the women. This is what we call the biorhythm, or the biological rhythmic frequency emitted from an organism. They have biorhythm apps, and it map you in 3 primary positions. It map you, we ain't got to the 7 sisters yet. The opening gate is the 3 sisters. The 7 sisters is the most powerful seal. But the greatest seal on earth is what we call the 13th seat, which is surrounded by 12 other seats. Nobody's bigger than nobody. It's just that somebody have to call the other 12 matriarchs in order for the earth to go back to a matriarchal planet. And the one that calls them sits in the Isis seat, which is the 13th seat, historically known as Isis and the 12 daughters, which was an earth protocol for redemption. We had a blueprint. I've been following it since I started. Most of us don't remember because of the amnesia. We don't remember the tribal measure to overturn or overthrow anything belligerent to the clan mothers. We don't remember that. So a lot of us, the ones who did remember, got murdered early. As soon as they realized that they knew what was going on and they started talking about women in power, they was out of there. And remember, they was at Elijah Muhammad the whole time because he kept saying 75% of my work is with the women. Right? And finally, they couldn't get him. They got Malcolm and several other members or former members like Clarence 13X, Father God Allah Puddin, out of the 5% Nation. They murdered him too. They was murdering these guys because they did not want to surrender the power. Now, we fortunate enough, most of us don't understand that MLK got tricked and that Elijah Muhammad exposed the trick to him in 1965. It's known as the historical meeting. It was historic because the guy that was picked by the system to keep us under control met the guy who nature picked to break the control paradigm. And when he talked to Martin, and Martin had a pure heart, he had an open heart, he had a lot of love, and his family became under attack for him shifting his dynamic. Most of us don't know that them so-called black Jews, one of them shot his mama in the face in the pulpit in the front row of the church. They drowned his brother in the swimming pool. All this is because Elijah told him what was going on, and he was able to come back and tell us how they brought the European peasantry over here, mechanized their farm. The only problem that we really have in understanding this whole thing is that the white man ain't even white. That's the biggest problem we got, because we get stuck in this skin race paradigm war protocol. The white man not white. He darker than me. He make me look light skinned. The white man is not a pale face. Pale face and white man is 2 entirely different subject matters. And as long as we still thinking that the pale face is the white man, we keep people that look like us, because the white man look just like us. They look just as dark. They not us though. The white man ain't white. Y'all got to get that out y'all brain. That's poison. That skin-based racism is a military strategy to maintain control over a mass of people. Not only is the white man not white, all religions are also crowd control war protocols. That's why they keep telling you worship, but you didn't know that the worship was the worship. Because we ain't pronouncing it right. Because we think that the A and the O in war changes the pronunciation of the word. It's a warship. And that's the Admiralty maritime jurisdictional paradigm we were stuck under. Right? Long as we were stuck under that paradigm, we was on the ship of war. It was the good ship Plymouth. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. We didn't take war to nobody. They brought war to us. And as the matriarchy returns, y'all gotta remember, the only thing that's slowing us down now is that BS they got going on, where Israel think they can just blow up who they want, when they want, with no repercussions and no consequence. Then you got these people in Iran thinking that because they ancient Persians, that they gonna be the leaders in this new world. They not, because they let the enemy in the gate through the portal that they got still over there. It's inactive, but it's still there. Just like the one in Iraq was still there. Then you got the ones in the Ukraine who think because they had control of the financial institutions of the world that they untouchable. They getting touched. Putin touching them. Just the same way they was touching on them babies, Putin touching them grown-ass men now. Right? So, they wanted to harvest children, he harvesting they wicked ass. They the same people. All of them the same people. We call them Khazarians. They all the same people. From malicious and false information that they fed us to turn us against each other. As long as we fighting each other, we ain't going nowhere. But when we peep game, this is the game. They don't want y'all to know that the person responsible to give us the instructions to reclaim everything is the person that they identify by DNA, genetic codes that match the first mother. It is the closest similitude. So that means that somewhere they have a genetic sample of the first mother. And they've been matching it up to women all over the world for eons. Y'all think DNA new? Think that they just discovered the helix in the 50s? What you think the caduceus is? It got nothing to do with medicine. It got everything to do with DNA. The straight pillar, that's just a spine. Because an upright person stands with an upright spine. It's a straight staff. They tricking us. Everything they told us, well, even if they told us the truth, it was used as a tool of deception. Yeah, they counterfeit spirits to earth. They can't sync with the earth. That's why they don't want the women to reactivate the planetary grid through the feminine matriarchal matrix. Because if they do, the earth going to treat them like parasites and turn their DNA off. Right? They can't do that. You can't do that. When you go to another place, the only thing that's keeping them from literally perishing on earth is the fact that the women haven't reactivated the sacerdotal seat with the 12 sisters, the daughters of Isis. And because that hasn't been done, that's the only reason why they can walk around on here without dropping dead, because the earth have a defense system. We the antibodies. So if the T cells, which is the women, don't activate the grid, the earth ain't going to get rid of them. They can stay long as y'all want them to stay. Long as the women stay confused and delusional, they can stay long as they want to stay. Ain't nothing the men can do. We can keep killing them, and they're going to keep coming back, or what they call taking a host. They either keep coming back or take a host. Now, the way that they take hosts is through blood rituals and transfusions and parasites, what they call the vril. If we kill one with a vril worm, it just killed the body. You didn't kill the parasite. The vril worm, a sister did a post a couple weeks ago, and she was literally breaking down the science of the vril worm. And I put in the comments, she's telling the whole science of how the vril worm works. The vril worm is part of a hive mind that never forgets because they always here. So even if you kill one of the worm can also, all of his consciousness is absorbed by the rest of them. So you got to get all of them. And the lady named Ayn Rand wrote a post-apocalyptic novel years ago called Atlas Shrugged. In order to put in the algorithm the term Atlas Shrugged, well, who was Atlas? First of all, they have us thinking that Atlas was some old strong, pale-faced man with tiny balls and tiny genitals over there in Europe somewhere that was holding the earth on his shoulders. Okay. All right, we're going to take that. So Atlas is the one that holds the earth on his shoulders. Now, a weightlifter know what I'm talking about when I mention a shrug. It's when the shoulders do this. Shrug. Right? And you use it to build up your lats. Now, in the process, not your lats, your traps, your trapezius muscles. And the trapezius and the trapezius is homonym, sound alike. The trapezius is the muscle, the trapezius is the swing that they flip from, like the flying Walendas. Right? That's for a reason. They tell Negro comes from necro. Necro is dead. That's why they say black is dead in the eyes of the law. But saying Naga, look at them Nagas over there. Them kings. Them kings of the bloodline, them serpent kings. That's who they talking about. The Nagas. But because of the colonizer had to figure out an adjustment, they attached it to a transliteration and translation of the word Negro. But it's not. They two entirely different language sources. Nagas, the closest language where you can find the term Nagas being used for royalty and king is in Sanskrit. Sanskrit is one of the oldest continuously spoken languages on the planet, uninterrupted by colonization. Even though they have people over there that speak English, like they're from Bangladesh and they're speaking a really, really, really English. But the Sanskrit language, which is the parent language to Hindi, is the only place where you're going to find them still using Nagas for the kings. In other places, they got different words for it. Right? Like the word chief, not even one of our words. The words they use and are not always the same. And when they're not always meant the same, and it's like taking the foreigner's language and you hear a word you recognize and you try to latch on to that word, but that word don't mean to them what it means to you. So because of what they told us the word mean after they killed off the knowers, because that's what all of those strange fruit that Billie Holiday sung about, them was our educators. Those was our leaders. They wasn't just regular old everyday Joes. They don't care about the regular old everyday Joes. They care about the ones that can put a stop to their reign of terror. And I'm here to put a stop to their reign of terror. And the only reason why they ain't got me and got rid of me, the only reason is because I know they pattern and I stay out of their way. They want me to go to all of these other events. Nope, I'm not doing it. And that was the reason. Because long as they can't say that I'm building a cult, they have no justifiable reason to come and attack me. They have to say you building a cult as a tribal leader. Everyone and that's why the Panthers didn't come up as a tribal organization, but as a political organization. Well, we know now that politics is not the source to our liberation because the political structure is controlled by the enemy. And we know that from the Black Panther Party and studying the Black Panther history and what they all went through. So if you don't know what they went through, then you can't say what they dealt with. You don't know the enemy like they do. This is why Tupac moved the way he did. And this is why he had all these artists. And it's the part y'all wasn't noticing. Everywhere he went, just like E40 still doing it. They can't touch him because he not fitting it into the pattern. He not building a cult. But he going to places and he telling the chiefs that's coming to see his concert, hey man, y'all got to clean y'all hood up, man. Y'all got to get them young guys under control. You know what I'm saying? We trying to get it back, but we can't do it unless y'all help. Everybody want a piece of the pie, but don't nobody want to lift a finger to bake. They all want to wait till it's baked and then rush in there with their plate. Big Mama said not happening. That's not how it works. If you're not going to contribute to your own liberation, then you might as well go on and jump off the bridge. Everybody got a role to play. And we are responsible for our liberation collectively and individually. Individually, you're responsible to liberate your mental self first. Because the primary cause of the problem is the spells they put on us from learning. The spells they put on us from thinking. These are the spells that's slowing us down. Right? But that shit don't work when you know it's there. Once you understand the mechanics of any sorcery spell, your spiritual system, it's like your immune system. Until you experience something you need to be immune to, you're not going to be immune to it. But as soon as your antibodies discover it, they do what the scientists do. They break that shit down, learn the components, functions, the triggers, how it works, what it don't like, what it like, until they figure out a way to get rid of it. We the antibodies. We responsible to get rid of the parasites, not by going out trying to kill them off, but that ain't gonna never get rid of them. We have to wake up enough people in mass to change and shift the paradigm back to its original proper functioning order of the matriarchal order. That's it. Yeah, they got to choose a door. You can't just sit there. Look, if a dude gets shot and go to the hospital and sit in the waiting room with a bullet, bleed, don't know how bad internally, but bad enough externally, but he don't want to go get a doctor. He just want to sit there. Somebody might come along and see him, but what if he in a little area like a small backwood town that only got one doctor and two nurses, and they in the back because they don't know nobody in the waiting room? This is the situation that most of us is in. We don't know we sitting in the waiting room waiting because we want everybody else to do it. We don't want to do it. And it ain't got nothing to do because people think that your freedom requires the shedding of blood. Not if you right. Not if you telling the truth. That's the main two components. Stand in the position to right and tell the goddamn truth and shame the devil. And then you start making the universe work to assist you in the liberation process. But we want to get on social media and gossip. We want to talk about why that man and that woman broke up in their relationship, why that girl ain't got no man, why that man can't find a girl. All of the menial, petty bullshit. Who having sex with who got what disease. This is the stuff that dominate our conversations on a day-to-day basis. I'm not making up. You scroll social media and you can see it. And now you can't see it as much because it's a new juicy piece of data floating through the gossip circle. That's them Indians. That right there, they took over. Then it took over. Because now, even the ones who didn't know shit but knew who they was an Indian, now they stepping up talking about, nah, my grandmama and them always told us we was Indians. I don't know who you talking to. I see them brothers up here telling it. Now everybody coming out the woodwork and they all telling who we are. I don't have a gripe with the $5 Indians. They got a gripe with us. But the ones that took side with the colonizers, I got a gripe with them. They will not be running them casinos, I know that. That shit gonna get shut the fuck down by Big Mama. I'm not the one to do that. That's not my job. I don't own the banking redemptions process. That's not mine. That's Big Mama domain. But I can tell you this, everybody that's been sucking our money up, they gonna get shut down. Donald John Quavius is just waiting on the last thing that the sisters got to do. The Big Mama's got to do. And Big Mama know what to do. When that happens, then them JAG officers gonna release them Gitmo files, because they ain't been telling y'all who they been executing. Now, this was the problem. Let's go back over a little recent history. The George Herbert Walker Bush had passed a law to make himself the king of the Americas, North, Central, and South. This unity or union was the source by which they was finna come up with a new fiat called the Amero, right? And he was the highest ranked member of that secret society y'all call Illuminati in North America, and his territorial region was the total Americas. Now, he had operatives when he hijacked the presidency under Reagan, because that's why Reagan got shot. Hinckley the Hinckley family and the Bush family was tight knit. You can look this up. Don't believe what Rod telling you. Look it up. Now, John Hinckley, the one who is free right now today, the first ever person to assassinate a president to walk free and don't get life until he died. The first ever. That means that he got some juice. He was the illegitimate son of George Herbert Walker Bush with one of his friends' wives. Right? The wife of one of his friends had a baby by him. And they named him John Hinckley Jr. But they knew he wasn't a Hinckley. They knew he was a Bush. But they knew that Bush had these boy toys. The boy toys is assassins. And then he got Jeb and G Dummy. Now, Jeb and John Hinckley, pull their images up. Look at the side-by-side comparison. They brothers. John Hinckley and Jeb Bush look more like brothers than Jeb Bush and George Bush with the same so-called mama. I think they are test tube babies myself, but that's just my opinion. I can't prove it. But George looked like the old man. Jeb and John look like they the twins. They look like fraternal twin brothers. They look almost exactly alike but different. Now, he also had, as one of his boy toys, a collection that we know as Boys from Brazil breeding program that rolls out of the Third Reich. And all of them were Barry Soetoros, Barack Obama. Now, when they went to make the coup, they had to give us what was called 3 knocks to a finish. So they gave us the first World Trade Center bombing in 1991. Then they gave us the Federal Building in Oklahoma City in 95. And then they gave us 9/11. From 9/11, they tried to run the same goddamn play they ran on Iraq and Afghanistan that they ran on us. Let me tell you what the play was. The play is that you hire a contractor to rebuild the infrastructure of the decimated land. And this contractor would then find people to do their bidding in that land, and then they would give them the appearance of leadership. The first person that mirrors George Washington, his name was Muhammad Karzai. American CIA found Mohammed Karzai the same way they found Saddam Hussein. Most of us don't know that the CIA was the ones that paid for Saddam Hussein to have an in-house coup in Iraq, take over, and they also gave him the genetic scientists in order to make clones of him that and body doubles of him. So it was like 5 or 6 Saddam Husseins. They had a limiter. Normally, when they make the doubles through cloning process, they make them in batches of 25s and 50s. This is why it was 50 of the boys from Brazil that were the clones of Akhenaten. The reason they cloned Akhenaten is because they figured that when Tupac came, they would have his father Akhenaten, right, as Tupac was Tut, right? Now, his father being Akhenaten, they say he could pull rank on his son and take the throne. But in the realm of the gods, they don't play that shit. If it ain't your turn, don't sit your ass on that throne. But now, it's always a higher authority to call on. When Tupac said, I did everything I can and I did everything righteous by the rules of war in the public domain and let us know that he couldn't get his shit, right? Once he did that, that activate number 7. And I am number 7. So when he activate number 7, my job is not to take sides of anybody's bullshit. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care how tall you is. I don't care how fat you is. I want to know what is the problem and how can I fix it. I discovered that the biggest problem was the earth was running on the wrong frequency. Shu and Min are 2 masculine energies out of Egypt. That tell me right there it's a red flag. That's the biggest red flag anybody can see. When they keep telling us it's the Schumann resonance. It's the Shu Teflon resonance in proper balance. But it's the Schumann resonance if you on some elemental GBQ community type shit with your rainbow flag. That don't got nothing to do with the earth. That's all from off-world that was brought here. That's not our systems. The systems that we have been following are inversions of our systems. We went to the bank in order to get the money out. We didn't go to put money in the bank. We went to go, my big mama had something for everybody. But now, everybody got something for the central banking cartel. They know who the rightful heirs is. I've been telling us this for years. They always knew who we were. They always knew where we were. They have shadowed specific chiefs. They tried to kill me on numerous occasions. It's just, fortunately for me, my spirit protection is stronger than their ability to think. So they couldn't kill me, so they locked my ass up, which is the second thing they do to anybody that they can't kill or not supposed to kill. They lock their ass up. That's why when it came to Stan Tookie Williams, they didn't execute him. They froze his ass. They put him in cryostasis because they wasn't allowed to kill him. He's been thawed out, and he's waiting to show himself to his Crips because he's needed. He's needed in order for them to understand that it was never about red versus blue. It was about, hey, tribes, wake up. Wake up. Don't believe the hype. Go back and listen to Same Game, the West Coast Rap All-Stars. That was not an accident that they put that out. And they got inspired by the East Coast, by New York, putting out Self-Destruction, right? So these are 2 critical pieces of music that's often overlooked in the hip-hop community because of the same. Michael Jackson led the We Are the World. Look, you got the R&B community singing We Are the World. Not just R&B, country, blues, jazz, all of them singers was singing on the We Are the World. Every major song singer of the era, of the day, was on that song. Except one. His Purple Majesty. Because he didn't believe that anything that dealt with the system could overthrow the system. Well, he didn't show up. So you got everybody but Prince on there. He the only one not on there. Now, all of them is fighting the goddamn record companies. Michael fighting them. Uh, uh, what's his name? Bruce Springsteen was fighting them. Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, everybody that made an album in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s was fighting the music industry, not for something that they didn't owe them, for what they are earned. So they all fighting the music industry for what they already didn't earn. Contractually, they supposed to be giving them this money. They wasn't giving these artists their money. They had a sharecropping agreement. The sharecropping agreement is the source of the music contract, the 360 deal, right? They murdered Sam Cooke about his masters, but they told us this was about some hooker chick in the hotel room. It had nothing to do with her. Then they told us that black lady shot him. She ain't even the one that shot him. But she took that money in order to cry self-defense. He wasn't shot no one time. Ask his family. Don't ask me. Go find his family's report and let them tell you how many times he was shot. Right? They poisoned Jimmy. Well, they gave Jimi Hendrix a hot shot. Right? They gave Janis Joplin a hot shot. Most of them that they're telling y'all OD didn't OD. They gave him a hot shot. What's the dude name? Mac Mall, I think was his name. Died on his tour bus. That wasn't no accident. That fentanyl death wasn't no accident. They did. Look, some of these people not dead. Kurt Cobain is not dead. Courtney Cox gonna faint when she see Kurt Cobain because she thought she killed him. He ain't dead. He was extracted long before they assassins ever got there to kill him and say he committed suicide. He was already gone. I'm gonna tell you somebody else that's not dead. DMX ain't dead. Chief Zolo. They wasn't allowed to kill him, so they just took him out the game until the grand finale. They gonna have something called a dead celebrity ball. They didn't have it before, but this one gonna be different. This one gonna have, instead of lookalike artists, it's gonna have real artists that you thought was dead. Aaliyah and Left Eye, they ain't dead. They in Honduras, having a good old girl day together, and it was Left Eye refused to stay unless they got Aaliyah out. She was gonna blow everybody cover if they don't get Aaliyah out. She was that serious. So they had to get Aaliyah out. So they gave us this fake ass plane crash story. Right? DMX is Chief Zolo. Look up Chief Zolo, spelled Xolo. And then you're gonna understand his affection to the dog. Cause that's what they call Anubis. That's who that is. Chief Zolo. Right? Mike not dead. MJ not dead. Look, Pimp C not dead. I got hoes to chase. I got shows to do, man. Y'all got me back here sitting like I'm some kind of sap or sucker or something. I need to be seen. That's what he keep telling me. Triple X. XXXTentacion. He kept telling me, he was like, man, I ain't gone nowhere. I'm here. I'm boots on the ground. I just can't come out right now. Because they tried to kill him. For real, they wanted him dead. A lot of these guys not dead. Yeah, Mike gonna be back. Yeah, he gonna be back. A lot of these guys, they gonna do the dead. I'm telling you, they gonna do a dead celebrity ball, and a lot of artists that people thought was dead, going far back as the '60s, is gonna perform. A lot of artists is not dead. A lot of people in general that had the spotlight are not dead, but they had to feign their death to take them out of the spotlight. A lot of them people not dead. And the reason why they feign their death is so they don't get killed for real. When you understand Machiavelli, right? You have people that saying Machiavelli faked his death. Machiavelli never faked his death in his lifetime. There's no record of that anywhere. But in his journals, when he was writing to Leonardo di Piero Medici, right? While he was writing him, he told him the hardest move to compensate for is the general who feigns his death to confuse his enemies. Mao Zedong did it. Arthur Rimbaud, who they made the movie Eddie and the Cruisers on, did it. A few more other ones. I had a list of them. But a lot of these people not gone. A lot of them is here waiting on the so they can live their life and give their art to the world without having to worry about, am I going to have some money at the end of my career? Matriarchs believe that everybody should be compensated for their work. It no matter if you did a small job, you just won't get as bigger compensation as somebody that did a bigger job. Sometimes a small job might be more important than the bigger job. Right? Now, let's get back to the takeover. So they gave us the 3 knocks to the finish: the World Trade Center, the Federal Building, the World Trade Center. Then they brought up Barry Soetoro as the Great Black Hope. We finally got somebody that we can put in the Oval Office. The Oval Office don't even fucking belong here in its current capacity. It don't even belong here. It was buried under the ground before they dug it up for a fucking reason, because it don't supposed to be there no more. It had exhausted its purpose, but they repurposed it when they dug it up, and the people they had dig it up, they called slaves to say they built it, did not build the White House. That's why 80% of it is still under the ground. But y'all don't even really know that, because y'all think that the shit that they've been telling us is true and real. And they've been lying to us the whole time. Right? It's just like your parents, you on a long road trip. Oh, we about to get off real soon. The exit coming up. Just hold it a little bit longer. Because they know you don't really got to pee. Then you fall asleep in the back seat. And then you wake up at the destination. You still got to go to the bathroom, baby? Go and take your ass in there. Come on now. They've been running game on us. They've been literally running the lone white con on us. Get the book by Iceberg Slim, because he talk about the lone white con in one of the short stories in the book. They've been running this con on us, telling us that we got some mysterious enemy called the white man, but they not telling us the white man ain't paleface. They not telling us that part. And that they run in the country because the savages that was here was unfit. We got buildings older than 1,000 years. We got buildings over 1,000 years old. They turn them into prisons, they turn them into mental institutions, and they turn them into state buildings like the White House. Why you think Trump moved to Mar-a-Lago? Because Mar-a-Lago should have been where the White House office of authority was supposed to be sitting, but it was displaced during the Gullah Wars that they call Seminole Wars. When you read about it, when they call it Seminole Wars, that's your enemy's perspective. When you read about it and they calling it the Gullah Wars, that's from our elders, our ancestors' perspective. It's 2 different perspectives. Then they lied about the name, Seminole. They tell us that it's Cimarron, from the Latin for runaway. That's not what that means. It's not even, it's Latin, semi and nolles. Semi means half, nolles means birth, half-breed. They was calling us half-breed, but the implied meaning was mixed breed in reference to the varying skin complexions of the different people that populated the Gullah community. We had pale faces over here long before Columbus came, and we didn't have no issues with them. They've been living in the Appalachians over 1,000 years. So all of a sudden now they newcomers, but they get treated just like us, but we don't pay that no attention, and they get called po white trash. When I asked my mama about the po white trash part, because we was told that there was something called white privilege, but the po white trash never was able to capitalize on the white privilege, and I did never understand that until my mama say it was always been people that looked like them over here. They was just from different tribes. So then I ran across the story of Scotta and Scotia and the history of them fleeing the Templar assassins, and it click right there. It clicked right there. That's why they get okay. Now it makes sense, because Scotta was settled in what we call today the Appalachian Mountains with her band of rescuers, and this is where your Smurfs come from. Because when they came over here, that southern sun was whooping their ass. So my big mama and them gave them silver water that turned their skin blue. And that's why we had forgot that there was pale faces over here. Because when we saw them, they was literally baby blue. And some of them, if they had more pigment in they melanocytes, was able to turn a darker shade of blue. So they were shades of blue when the colonizer came. They even wrote about this shit, but we don't remember none of that. We only read what they told us to read, and we don't read the whole story. That's where the origin of the Smurfs come from. The little Irish redheads that populated the Appalachians is the children of Scotta. Now, she had a twin sister who was caramel complexion, but she was freckles. We done all seen a sister that's light-skinned with freckles, but it's unmistakable she a sister. That was Scotia. Scotia settled in Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia literally translated as New Scotta, or New Scotland. And because the Scotland is named after Scotta, in Scotia, Nova Scotia is named after her twin sister. They was fraternal twins, Scotta and Scotia. Scotia settled Nova Scotia, and her sons gave us ice hockey. Go look it up. You will find out that it was some brothers that created ice hockey. Them was the sons of Scotia, twin sister to Scotta. In the Orishas of the South, and you will see her as Maman Brigitte, the redhead, buttermilk complexion, Orisha. Well, how the fuck she get in there? Where she come from? Also known as the wife of the Baron. So we know that the story they telling us got cracks so big in it that they navigated us around all the cracks. They walked us around all the crack. They never let us see the crack, because if you see the crack, then you peep the game. Right? And if you peep the game, trick no good. I fucked around and stepped into one of them cracks. I didn't see that motherfucker. I stepped in it knee deep and found out that the white man wasn't white. My feelings ain't never been hurt in my life. People call me ugly, dumb. That hurt my soul. Now, next thing. Once Barry get into office, the FBI got records that he's coming. The CIA is telling the FBI to look for him. They're telling them that there's an asset coming to take over America that was deployed by the Bush family, and that he would be coming from the rural urban areas, and they didn't even think he was going to be a brother. They didn't even think he was gonna have no. They thought he was. They was looking for a little white boy. They never. He caught him so. He blindsided them so good, because they thought he was gonna be a little white boy or a little pale boy. He wasn't pale, but that's what they was looking for. That's how he tricked them, right? So they put Barry in there to establish the coup de grace, and the coup de grace. What goal was to sell the United States to the country of Morocco. And this is when he did that big old thing about the history of Morocco being the first ones to recognize. They ain't recognize us. We was already here. We didn't need their fucking recognition. They recognized the colonizers. They sanctioned the colonizers. Morocco, it wasn't Morocco yet. That was Al Maghrib. Morocco was a corporation out of Spain called the Royal Corporate del Maroc. It was the Royal Corporation Al Maroc from Morocco. Morocco wasn't a country yet. When you go back and look, Morocco haven't been a country 100 years. Noble Ali had the flag, the red flag with the green star before Morocco was ever a country. Right? So when Barack come in, he establishing a coup. But military intelligence all peep game. Now, it's emotionally taxing on us because he looked like one of us, and we believe the people behind this don't look like us. Right? Now, all the time, the people that's creating all of the turmoil, the gang wars, which is tribal conflicts being initiated by outsiders infiltrating the tribes. They can't never get the chance for their elders and their leadership to restructure the tribal format before they start busting them up. This is what the problem is. This is why you have inner city violence. Because the training program is for the training program for the tribes is always on the land that they from, in their home area. And it was always two tribes used to train each other. Well, they took our training exercises and turned them into death sentences. And once they did that, now they got a justifiable claim to say we uncivilized savages because we can't even get along with each other. But every time we start getting along, they send infiltrators, underminers. Well, this is why I had to move the way I had to move, because I knew their pattern. So I moved always outside of their pattern, always under their restrictions. So whatever restrictions they had up, I went the other way so I didn't have to abide by them. So now I'm becoming what's called a Zeta wolf. The Zeta wolf is the only wolf in a wolf pack that picked the members of his pack. Every other pack is born into it. As a Zeta wolf, I had to roam the land to look by people that think similar. Right? Why is you putting body armor and high energy trail mix prices in here? I'm hoping that you're going somewhere with that, bro, because otherwise you about to irk me. But I'm gonna let it go. Anyway, so Barack job was to sell the corporation called the United States of America, not the land. He can't sell the land. Nobody has ever sold this land. It is, even when you go buy a house and you think you're buying a house, they tell you we could sell you the house. We can't sell you the land. Everybody that ever came over here know that you cannot sell people the land. You can sell them the right to build on the land, but the land belonged to the clan mothers. Always been that way, always gonna be that way. That's actually a global concept. But the war protocols has made so many people forget the ways of the old. So I got to come tell y'all, look, they tricked us. They made us think that we was foreigners on our own homeland. They made us think that they knew everything and we ain't no shit. They made us feel so belittled and demeaned and dehuman that we didn't have enough self-esteem to stand up straight. Right? I don't want to be one to tell y'all that shit. I don't want to be the one. I don't want to be the one that had to come and tell us how to get out of this. But wasn't nobody left. Everybody was either locked up or dead. or had to be extracted so they wouldn't be dead. So now it's just down to little old me and how strategic can I move, right? How strategic can I navigate around these clowns? I'm going to try. I don't know. It depends on the people. I've been attacked by people that I thought would be coming to help. I've been attacked by people who should have helped. Some of the people everybody don't have to be right all the time. And as long as we don't understand that, then we're not going to know how to help each other. When you find somebody, if I make a mistake, and if I don't see it and you tell me about it, I'm not going to get mad. Big Mama called me last night and said, you made a mistake. I said, yes, ma'am. Tell me what it is so I can fix it. I ain't trying to wallow in no bullshit. I want to fix the fucking problem. So, a lot of people that should have been the support team, they got mad because of whatever their personal trauma is. I must have hit that shit on the head. The biggest thing that's pissing a lot of people off with me right now is me telling everybody that the whole doctrine of racism is a war protocol, and they've used every form of media, education, and entertainment to perpetuate that bullshit. And it's not rooted in no truth nowhere. All it's rooted in is war. Now, I said this in the beginning, and I said now. Either we going to fix the problem or we can leave these devils in power. And people kept telling me, let's fix the problem. I said, the problem is it's going to be ugly before it get pretty. Y'all watching all of the ugly. I didn't want to be right. I wanted to not know what I was talking about, but I seen it too clear. So, now, where we at? So once Barack tried to establish his coup, this guy named Petraeus wanted to execute him. He had a big shootout at the White House, ran into the gates. He knew he couldn't get there. He was just trying to get attention on the problem. Well, if he's trying to get attention on the problem, whose attention is he trying to get? Because military intelligence is aware of what's taking place. Central intelligence is aware of what's taking place. The FBI believe they know what's taking place, but they can't believe that it's a darkie in office. That's the part that had the FBI stumped, because they was under the mind control, expecting the pale face. That's how they got past the FBI. COINTELPRO, to stop the rise of any potential messiah who would incite the masses, and the only people in that document to use for a comparative analysis of what this messiah might look like is Elijah Muhammad, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Some of the only three names that they called out. They didn't call out no KKK. They didn't call out no skinhead movement, which didn't exist. They didn't call out no Nazis, which absolutely existed with the KKK back then, but they didn't even get along. We didn't even realize the KKK was started by some darkies. And that's why the Nazis never liked them. But the Nazis was started by the same darkies in another part of Europe. So when they got over here, the palefaces confused that they're giving instructions to, because they know about the Black Brotherhood of Spain when they get over here, and then they see the Nazis see these Southern Klan riders with these robes on. They thinking they the same from Europe, the Black Brotherhood of Spain, that wear that regalia. They don't know. The Nazis don't know them ain't the ones from over there. Them just some Johnny-come-latelys masquerading as the so-called white man, and they ain't even white. When I first started telling people the white man ain't white, a couple pale faces was like, no, I'm tan. I was like, no. I'm like, ain't none of y'all classification as white people accurate. The people that's classified as white people look like me. And they were like, what you say? And some of them knew what I was talking about, and they try to ease out the room so I don't call on them and put the spotlight on them and make them tell it. Because I used to love making them tell it, because they don't like to tell it, because they put their life and their family in danger if they tell the secret, right? That's called the most violent, bloody oath, right? Or what they call the Rockefeller oath of secrecy. They got two of them. One of them from the church, the Pope, which is a bloody oath of the papacy. The other one from the bankers. So they made these agreements to keep us blind to who we are, put us under conjure spells. George Washington was the first president. They found this land and set up 13 colonies and settled here. And that was it. Ta-da! We suddenly here. Later on, they decided that the laborers' work was too much bullshit. Right? So, most of the holidays is repurposed tribal ceremony or ritual days. Because they all based on the stars. They're not based on what they're telling us. Christmas has nothing to do with the birth of a little baby named Jesus in the manger in Bethlehem. It has nothing to do with that. It's the winter solstice. That's all they got something to do with. Easter has nothing to do with no little baby being born in Bethlehem or no crucifixion story. The story called the crucifixion story, if you look up the word crucifixion, it's a compound word. Crux, C-R-U-X, hyphen, fiction, F-I-C-T-I-O-N. In reality, that means it is the point of the fraud. The falsehood starts right here with the crucifixion, the crux of the fiction, the pivot point. If you can balance out this story and find the truth in it, then you can't be stopped. Well, here's the truth to that story. The story is about Cleopatra. Cleopatra was sitting as the pharaoh at the time, and if a woman sitting on the pharaoh seat, she's sitting on the sacerdotal seat. The sacerdotal seat can only be held by women. If she sits on the sacerdotal seat, she is called Auset. Auset means throne. If she's called Auset as her rank, and her translation of Auset in Greek is Isis. And the only thing that they did to change Isis to Jesus is they turned the I into a fish hook so they can make you be a fisher of men. So you can get catfish every time you try to find out who she is. That's why every time one of them stringy beard hippies come along talking about they Jesus, they take their ass and lock them up or kill them. You don't even have to say it for real. Like David Koresh, they took an excerpt from one of his speeches. He was like, "Damn, Jesus Christ," and I was like, "Man, he shouldn't have never did that." Then I get to the people they call truthers, in where the Europeans gather, and the truthers got the whole video, and they let me see it, and it's David Koresh, and he said they're coming to get us. They're running around telling people that I said I am Jesus Christ. I said, "Oh, power that you can do with editing, everything," and he knew that the government was the fraud, but he didn't have them outgunned. They didn't go in there nothing about no kids, because he wasn't doing nothing wrong to no kids, because if they would have, they'd have let him stay. And they didn't go in there about anything other than the fact that he was financing his whole Branch Dravidian community. Now, first of all, when he said the word Dravidian, look up Dravidians of India, you're going to see some 1969 Jacksons. Big afros, big noses. And he's saying that he's a branch of the Dravidians. Where you get that from? They saying he's from the root of David. He didn't say Davidian. He said Dravidian. But they classified it as Davidian to kill him. And killed all them babies and them people in the process. They don't care. Then nobody that did that dirt lose a night of sleep, because if they would have, they'd have said something. All of them believe, because they so-called government lied to them, that they was actually eradicating the criminal element from the society. They don't even know they part of the criminal element. All of the crime is manufactured through circumstances, situations, and conditions. People only seek to get high because it's hell on earth right now. That's escapism. They got volumes and volumes in psychology that deal with escapism through narcotic addiction. Then if you put the women back where they supposed to, it'd be heaven. Motherfucker don't want to be high. They want to experience this shit. I want to see this shit. And so the next thing he did is they used the election ballots because they didn't want Trump to take over. Because if Barry don't get us sold to Morocco, they got a plan B. It's the Hillary plan, right? Operation Watergate, open the floodgates, which was an immigration scheme. But we don't want to talk about that. The immigration scheme was to overrun with so many people that's not from the land that it confuses the people of the land as to the imposters just squatting next to us. This was all a game to them. So now Hillary is staged, and according to their script, she was supposed to win, but we played our trump card, the big joker, right? When we played the big joker, they were screwed. Because the only way you can play the big joker is that you have to have the full backing of the military. Not the top brass in the military have to all see the fraud in order to play the trump card. Now, we say play the trump card like a spade game, but it was lit. This is where your Lockwood stories, that Barron Trump and all of that, this is where it come in because it's part of the code. They can't play the trump card until all of the top brass see the problem and the solution clearly. They all got to know these people frauds, them people the real deal. We're going to get rid of the frauds so that the real deal can use their tribal traditions to restore the balance. If all of them don't see it, if it's one of them that object, they have to go back to work until they got enough evidence to prove it to them. When you seen them walk out with Trump, that means that the full JAG court, the full military intelligence brass was on board to the land. The only problem is they had to systematically dismantle the system in everybody's face without letting them know what's happening. In comes the 2020 election. The 2020 January 6th was all about seizing the flag. What do I mean? If you go back to January the 6th, and this is why you have an advantage when you have somebody that don't look like you, that can walk past people that you can't. There's a military special forces guy who was also trained by a shaman from the land. And all he have to do is sit at Pelosi's desk, put the territorial flag, the war flag of the land, the red, white, and blue old glory, behind the Admiralty jurisdiction, and sit there for 30 seconds. He was there for like 10 minutes. Once he did that, that's called sinking the battleship. The battleship was the fraud of the judiciary that was administrative law in Admiralty jurisdiction. The reason they were administrative law in Admiralty is because the United States Corporation had a usufruct agreement that inserted George Washington as the first president. The usufruct agreement was only for them to be here temporarily to stabilize the people in the communities that's been upset by what we called back then the Civil War, and to rebuild the infrastructure Well, they got greedy. When they found out how wealthy the people over here was financially, they didn't care that it was only because they was the same amount of wealthy in spirit. And they decided that we gonna have to figure out a way to never tell them that this is a contract and that we not really a government but outside contractors that masquerade as the government. But we're going to use the military, what they call in the police is the military. It's a foreign military. Before the United Nations, it was a foreign military. They didn't have a United Nations in 1776. So they had to create private companies, right? The Virginia Company, the Northwest Trading Company, the Commonwealth Company. All these were companies that was coming over here doing trade. And this common language we call in English is actually a trade language that was developed between the Irish and the people of this land, not England. The English is not from England. English is a whole different language. The English that we using today has been added on to from every language in the world. Now, check out what happened next. Once Hillary put her hat in, they knew that that was the final phase to the coup de grace. So the military have to make a counter move. They don't want to do it because of something called posse comitatus or some shit. That they're not supposed to do a military action on the land, but they can't let the coup go down. Right? And then it started becoming a JAG issue because the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He's not the governor of the land. Never have been. His official title is not president. President is a leader of a corporation. But his title, as far as the people is concerned, is commander-in-chief of the armed forces. That's why he said he's going to be the last president. The person who's supposed to have been the birthright commander is indisposed in ADX, and his name is Chief Malik Angel Bay, a.k.a. Jeff Fort. He was supposed to be the commander-in-chief of all of the tribal. Every tribe has what they call a shield. When you get all the shields together, then each shield got a leader. And it forms a round table of leaders in the war room. And the person whose job to sit at the head of the seat in military matters, because there's no head, it's a round table, so that there's no big eyes and no little U's. But the person, when it comes to the warfare, who is supposed to be the general, who's supposed to tell Larry, Benny Lee, Big Tookie, the guy putting the founder, one of the OGs from the power, who was supposed to organize them into the defense force? Jeff. That's why they didn't move the same. Larry's job is for political purposes. He is a statesman. He is not a war chief. He's a statesman. But he have war chiefs under his command as a statesman. And his job is to give a report to the people about the state of the communities across the land. Who's under attack, why they under attack, who they under, two tribes fighting, what two tribes. That was his tribal responsibility, but they took that from him. So, because if he ever go around and talk to the leadership of all the tribes, then he got to come back, talk to his study group and say, this is what they told us. Y'all figure it out. Come back, so I can write my speech. I got to go tell Big Mama and them what's going on. They couldn't allow that. Then the vice lords got 5 kings. That's not no accident. Because they are supposed to be what they call the inner court guard of the matriarchal seat. That's why we say the vice lord house is Big Mama house. They supposed to be the guardians of Big Mama. Like, If somebody want to come to her house, they had to get past vice lords. But they didn't call them vice lords in a tribal origin. But they represented the same color code, the same 5 chiefs, right? And the reason they had 5 chiefs is in case one of them went rogue. They always had 4, which is the foundation to draw from. If more than one of them went rogue, it was all shut down by the matriarchy, and they would get all new kings. But now, on the West Coast, it was different. You had what you call a war chief, and a statesman was in one. That was the other side of the Mississippi. They have what they call the 5 bears, which is the shield of the West Coast. The 5 bears represent 5 critical key chiefs. You never supposed to know who they is until it's too late. And those 5 was supposed to be with Raymond Washington and Tookie, because you had to have 2 in the Blue House. You had to have 2 kings in the Blue House, right? And then the Red House, I think I don't remember how many they had. I think they had like 3, because they make up the 5 bears. But so you hear them tell the history of Raymond Washington and Big Tookie. They don't tell you about all of the infiltrators that came. Now, the Panthers don't originate from Cali. That's a Southern clan. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense came later. The original Black Panthers from out of Mississippi. They was the Black Panther Brigade in World War II. And General Patton said that if anybody was going to save America from the enemy within and the enemy without, it would be these Panthers. That's what he was talking about. They was a tank brigade. Now, when they got back from World War II, they set up a political Black Panther Party for self-defense in Mississippi. This is where Geronimo Pratt come from, who is your historical chief, Geronimo, your war chief. He was actually not a chief publicly. He was in modern terms, he would be a drill sergeant. He would be either a drill sergeant or some kind of sergeant over training, right? So the OGs, the elders told Geronimo, you got guys out there holding our logo, the Black Panther logo, our tribal totem. You need to go out there and give them the military organizational skills, whatever it takes to get them under, move correctly how we supposed to move. So Geronimo left and went out there, and then the police ran in there and gave him the same case they gave Tookie. I ain't gonna get into that right now. Now, there was a guy in prison at this time named George Jackson, who came from the Midwest. Hold on. George Jackson mama and daddy moved their sons to Cali because they was trying to escape what was going on here in the Midwest. But when they got out there, his mama said it's the worst move they ever made because they ended up losing both of their sons. George Jackson was a military genius. And a lot of people couldn't understand why Big George would have a pistol in his afro. If that makes sense. Now, he in prison, and they saying, I think they say it was Angela Davis supposed to smuggle him a pistol in, and he had it in his afro. My question when I read the report was this. If he had a pistol in his afro and they shot him before he ever got to the pistol, that doesn't make sense to me. They would have had, then let her leave and then later put a warrant out for her. That doesn't match. Anybody that ever been locked up know that if you bring somebody something in that prison, you ain't going home. You going to the local county jail. You are not going home. So I'm sitting there reading this, and I'm like, that don't make sense. But the deeper I get, the more I understand the man and the mind of George Jackson. And I said to myself, he had like one of my nephews. The same mentality. So I began to get gorilla knocks from other people. And I'm like, wait a minute. Don't nobody know how to get no gorilla knock in this era? These dumb motherfuckers don't know shit. No, they know. Because it's your spirit doing it. It ain't you doing it. Most of us have a hidden subconscious understanding of what's taking place, but the conscious mind is overruling your subconscious response because it's not matching with the environment. What you know to be true in your soul is not what you're seeing in the environment, so it's confusing you in the transfer of information from spirit into the brain to for you to live in the world. You're getting confused. So what's next? You have to make that adjustment. And most people can't do it. So when we see this stuff, some of us go into autopilot and our conscious mind will literally, the subconscious, if it's severe enough spiritually, your subconscious will shut your conscious mind down. You will not talk the same. You will not walk the same. Nothing that you say will be legible to anybody around. You will sound bat shit crazy. But every move you make will be precise, accurate, and what need to be done. So we sitting here and we looking at all these chiefs being just thrown in cages and murdered on the street. They thought Rodney King was just some motorist they pulled over. No, sir. But I ain't gonna get into that. These things are being done to trigger responses in key people in key places. When it all boils down and all come back around full circle, if you see a major event happen on the West Coast, it's going to be a major event happen on the East. If it haven't happened first. If it happened on the East Coast first, it's going to be on the West Coast. But here go the kicker. One of them not going to report it. So it'll look like it's only on one side, so you can't pick up the mirror effect. You can't get the mirror effect. The mirror effect would allow you to see it when you understand what you're looking at. So one mirror will be shown, the other one will be hidden. That's why Tupac broke the mirror in the last video. Toss it up. Mirrors is broken. I mean, you set the mirrors up all over the land. What mirrors? The chiefs. What chiefs? Sitting Bull, Chief Zolo, all them Wu-Tang chiefs, because they got a pack of chiefs running together. Shock G, Afro Chief. Eazy-E, Afro Chief. When I say Afro Chief, I say that because they identified by the Afro. Big Tookie was the Afro Chief, but they Blue House. Anyway, from there, once Hillary tried to get in, and that's why they tried that J6 bullshit. They done that because they wanted to use it as to charge Trump with what they was doing. They tried to flip it around on Trump. Hillary, Obama, and a couple of generals that's no longer in the military at the time. They had all retired. Them was them Bush boys. They was under the old man Bush. They was his advising team with them guys. The same ones that wrote the gay agenda. Anyway, they was working on one side to try to make it look like Trump was the problem the whole time. where as long as they can pump, what Barack say, as long as you pump enough raw sewage into the town square. Why did he use that term town square? They just talking about us. As long as they tell these Indians a whole bunch of bullshit, some of this shit gonna stick. They took Trump to jail. They took him to court. All kind of shit that didn't stick. And when they raided Mar-a-Lago, they didn't find what they was looking for. Because he had already sent the 72 secret treaties to Raven Rock, Colorado, where the most secure team is. They already knew what was going on. They reading the paperwork. They know who the blood right heirs that they've been tracking their whole life is. So here we is. We come out to tell y'all what's going on. Y'all think we batshit crazy because we know something that regular people just don't know. And we don't know it because we better than nobody. We know it because it's our assignment. That's the only reason we know it. Cause I wouldn't know look, half the shit I know today, I would never have studied that shit. I would never been inquired if I didn't have a job. If it wasn't part of my mission. All right. So, let me see the time. Anyway, so I'm gonna go wrap this up. Okay. Anyway, so once they discovered this coup attempt and this hostile takeover, because it's the same as a hostile takeover of a corporation, which is banned as part of the Monopoly Sherman Antitrust Act and other acts that they got, where you can't, one company can't come in and overtake another company just by buying up all their stocks. That's illegal, right? It's a hostile takeover. So there was a hostile takeover attempt to sell the corporation, which is actually a management firm out of Europe that was rebranded in a couple years. That was supposed to. They can't access the treasury, but what they can do is they can go around the world and borrow trillions and trillions of dollars against the collateral and the people. And they use your birth certificates as the bond, and each account payout should come through the Social Security card, but they use all that as slave papers. Your driver's license, your state ID is slave papers. It's the same shit. Ain't no difference. Now, when that took place, the discovery of the transfer of the government, the selling of the government became, they caught it. The military caught it. Now, 45 had a different function than 47. 46 was an illusion. It wasn't real. It was a stage show. Because 45 actually still 45. But we needed the numbers. 4 plus 5 is 9. And 4 plus 7 is 11. So we needed that number combination, and the hyphen is the dead space in the middle, telling you that that shit wasn't real. Now, the Joe Biden already was gone. They ran skin ass and lookalikes that don't even look like Joe Biden in front of everybody, and nobody caught it. I'm telling them in real time, that's not Joe Biden. They think I'm crazy. They had different actors at different times playing them. This is why, and when I first said this, people were like, this dude is saying the craziest shit. But now you got people that then went and did the research. Sometimes Jim Carrey played Joe Biden. Sometimes it was another actor, James Woods, played Joe Biden. Sometimes it was another actor, I think his name was something like Arthur Beck or something. All of these people. Now, Trump been telling you who the actors was by calling them central casting. The reason he's doing that is because it has to be in the public domain to know that the military side is still exercising their roles and responsibility to protect America against the domestic threat by running a psychological operation. He points out the central casting, and when you understand what central casting is, then you can go back and you can follow the whole trajectory of the psyop. Now, he brings up stuff about banking, because he talks about the reporters asking him about if he's saving children from trafficking, and he says, is it a bad thing? And, he doesn't directly answer, like a true politician, the critical questions, but the ones that he had to answer for the codes to get out, he answered them. He answered, he answered them according to the code. So this is why he's telling you, oh, he's going to be great. He's going to be a great general. He's central casting everybody. That means that whoever position that this dude is filling that was originally there with the same exact name is in Gitmo. Everybody who went to Gitmo was replaced by a actor, a central casting draft. They tried to go with lookalikes. They tried to go with lookalikes first, like like the Dave Chappelle lookalike. Yep, that is not Dave Chappelle. That nigga and 80 pounds heavier, and his face don't look the same. Ears ain't the same. The same thing with Jamie Foxx. Yeah, the bootleg Jamie Foxx come out, missing tattoo, all kind of. It's just Hollywood, and this is why they calling it the theater of war. It's all a stage show. The world is a stage, and we all just actors. But how well do you play your part? Are you gonna get a Grammy this year? Are you gonna get an Oscar? So let me go ahead and do this Q&A. I'm gonna take about 4 or 5 questions. So if y'all can keep it to one question, there's only one person requested to join. So now we're gonna go into Q&A. I accepted the one. Go on B Dale show on page on YouTube, and
Peace,
we
chief.
did
What's
the
going
show.
on?
Hold on one
Hold
second.
on.
Somebody asked, and in the comments I was brother was coming up. You see the flag of the bays on that show that I did with B Dale. If you go on there, you'll see it. It's on B Dale channel. He actually displayed. I had it up as a background too for a while, but a background changed according to the frequency. Peace, my brother. What's going on with you? What gonna do for you today?
Peace, chief. How you feeling, man? Yo,
Um,
chief.
you know me.
I ain't gonna hold you, man. My chest kind of pumping and my legs kind of tingling right now because I'm walking and all that.
Okay, go ahead.
But dang, man, I can't even believe. Hey, chief, I ain't gonna hold you, man. I said I'm gonna get on live with you, right? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get on
Mm-hmm.
live with you. And I had said that while you was on live. I'm like, man, I gotta get on live with you, man. Cause I was trying to hit you like last year, cause um I ever since a kid, Chief, I've been just dreaming real crazy. Like real crazy. So I wanted to ask you about this one dream that I had. So but it been quite a few of them that been like that though. But so I
Okay,
have a
let's just deal
dream.
with one of them today.
So I have a dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I look in the mirror and I'm like this I'm not myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to see if that's like
Hold on. What did you look like?
I look like a young person, a young black person back in like what 1950s or something, because of how I was dressed. Like I had
Mm-hmm.
like the old kind of clothes on and everything. Yeah, and I had like curly hair, but it was short. I didn't have these,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just looking in the mirror because I had a few where I just look in the mirror and I'm a different person.
Okay, now that was not a regular dream. That's called an imprint dream.
Okay.
Now, that's a past life recall. And in the past life, you was looking in the mirror trying to see what you was gonna look like when you grow up. That means you was sending your mind to the future.
Mm,
Something happened that interrupted your life before you seen it come to fruition, and it didn't land until you grew up.
okay. Okay. Now, can you just repeat that one more time for me, Chief? Just
Yeah,
one more
I'm gonna
time.
go again. It's a past life memory. In your past life as a little boy, that age, you were staring in the mirror trying to imagine what you're gonna look like when you grow up.
Mm,
But something happened that ended your life before you became who you saw yourself as an adult. But in this life, you made it to adulthood. So when you had the dream, it was picking up the projection of your imagination, seeing you in the future to remind you that you made it this time. And this is
okay.
recorded, so you'll be able to go back over it.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, man.
No problem.
Cause I've been wanting to know that. Cause like I said last year, I hit you about the dreams and everything. Cause that's the main thing I do. Like
Yeah,
just
in the
dream
tribal culture.
crazy and yeah.
So you have to study dreams. Everything you can read, dream books, psychology of dreaming, all that. Read everything you can, so you have a database to draw from to help you understand dreams.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
No problem.
Appreciate you, Chief.
All right. We'll let
All right.
somebody else up.
Peace.
All right. Didn't somebody else send me a request? Shamash.YouTube.
It's so crazy how I could feel it before it happens. Oh my God, bro. Peace, God.
Peace, peace, man. What can I help you with today?
So, first off, I want to thank you. Um, I spoke to you about a year ago, almost to the day, um, and I asked you why I'm having these dreams of being a star. Um, and you told me that they're memories, and you told me how basically to wire my mind. Um, and I implemented that. So I want to thank you. But um, you said you mentioned X, right?
Hmm.
Um, XXX, and I wanted to know, like,
I knew which one you was talking about because he in my ear. So you
yeah,
got some kind of connection to him.
yeah, exactly. Like
Cause
that's exactly.
he was like, bro, he one of mine, bro. And he know I hate when he say that shit. I don't know. That's his way of annoying me to get my attention. But go ahead, what you saying?
Hmm. Um, so I live in Florida. I live about 15 minutes from where he's buried. Um, and
Where they say he buried.
right. Um, I had a lot of like experiences of his soul and spirit like merging with mine. Um, and
He's saying, bro, tell him I'm working with him. I'm not merging. I'm working with him. This
Hmm.
is what he's saying right now. Like, tell him.
That's what I mean. That's
Yeah.
what um and I thought it was merged, right? Because I seen a lot and how what his missions was going through as a child, like as a child of Eshu. I could be
Mhm.
wrong, but I feel like we're both children of Eshu. His missions with Eshu and my missions with Eshu like came together, and it helped me like figure out so much. So that's where I got confused with the mergence.
His energy with you strong because he talking his ass off. He won't shut the fuck up. But go ahead.
I hope it's all good things. I mean, shit.
No, he's telling me stuff. I'm gonna get to it in a minute. I just need to hear a little bit more.
But yeah, there was like just a whole bunch of like dreams that I had and other people's dreams that coincided with that, and it led to like this whole like spiritual awakening for me that allowed me to really understand time and how time works. Um, and it helped me put things in proper order. Um, so I don't really know what to make of that.
Okay, let me tell you what he's telling me to tell you. He said you're looking at it wrong. Go back to his interviews. He said you're not using frequency. You're not thinking in terms of what the frequencies mean. Hold on, hold on. Yeah, he said when you go back and review, you're gonna pick up pieces that you missed. And he's saying that it's frequency. He said focus on frequency and stop taking stuff so literal.
Hmm.
So he's saying that you're missing the frequency connection to what he's trying to show you. There's something to do. Do you do music?
I do.
Yeah, he said you're gonna know. 'Cause he just told me you did music. I'm like, he didn't say anything about no music.
Hmm.
But he's saying that when you go back, he said work with the frequencies, study the frequencies because they're gonna give you the cheat codes. And when you get the cheat codes, you'll be able to put them in your music to wake other people up. That's what he's telling me.
So study his interviews, tap into the frequency more, and implement that in my music.
Yeah, because he's saying that he's trying to show you how to use the frequencies to help other people wake up. You pretty advanced, bro. I don't think you know how advanced you are. Somebody in the comments say, stop saying you could be wrong because you just advanced. And then they right.
Mhm.
Believe in
Um,
yourself.
I do. I definitely do. I'm just dealing with a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Um,
So just, yeah, it says just the frequency thing that you're missing that he's trying to show you. It's something that he's probably trying to get you to make a specific song. And you're going to know because while you're doing the song, it's going to feel like he in the room with you.
that's why I be so messed up about the merging thing, cause like I could feel him like with me, so it's very weird, bro. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
I
Um,
I'm a big Tupac fan, right? I was in a booth one day doing this song called Came Through, and Biggie was in there with me. And it kind of took me for a loop because I was not a real Biggie fan. Like I respected his lyrical prowess and everything, but I never expected to tap into his frequency like that. Yeah, came through it all. Still I stand tall. The world wanna know how I continue to ball. If the game need a boss, hell yeah, I paid the cost. Yaktown, Guerrillaville, land of the law. Came through the storm, but my anger was born. Morpheus the genuine. I'm changing my form. I'm changing my flow. And the way this to go. And if you want the truth, it's a shame you ain't know. The game say I'm cold and I'm freezing your brain. Speaking like a G is so easy and plain. You can come with them gats like a tragically in. But what I put on paper mean you died by the pen. The tune that you in, a heavy ass bass line. Woofers in my trunk. Trick warned you not to test mine. Give me sticky greens. Color of the white path. Fit for bumpy face. I put me in my right mind. I stay ahead of the curve. Only vodka make me swerve. I resurrect your mind if you sink it to my words. That song, when I was recording it, he was like right there, breathing down my neck. I was looking around in the booth like I'm the only one in here. What is this shit? It was like real new to me at the time.
And that's crazy too, cause X is Jamaican, and Biggie was one of his favorite artists.
That's where Biggie at in Jamaica. X might be down there with him. Shit, as far as I know. He laughed and he said, "Nah, bro, I ain't in Jamaica. I'm in Florida."
That's crazy.
How the fuck you stay in
So
Florida?
I got one more question. So Loki is the king of the earth.
Loki is the son of the Ice Princess.
Hmm.
Another way of saying Isis. Loki is Thor,
Hmm.
and I know from personal experience.
I went through a lot with this mentor of mine. I think you know him. Uh, he's the pigeon. Um, but he channeled for me that I'm Loki, and so when I started
That's
dealing,
called it's called the Sybil effect. A whole lot of people um, that come from a bloodline can access the frequency on that bloodline. They'll think that that's who they are, right? Like it's a brother who think he cut, and he think Tupac is Akhenaten, right? But he don't know that because he's from that bloodline, he can. It'll be just like that was his past life memory. That's how powerful it is. The Sybil effect is what it's called. And that's
so
why they made that movie Sybil to try to make everybody that's having the Sybil effect think that they schizophrenic, but they not.
they're just tapping into
The bloodline.
the bloodline. So what he channeled for me was something that I'm tapping in through a bloodline.
Yeah.
Hmm. So what does that mean?
It means something different for everybody. You got to ask yourself, what do it mean for you? Don't mean the same thing for everybody. And it's based on, for your understanding, you got to remember, when you send your higher self out to get information, the information going to show up. Because the only person on this planet that can't lie to you is you. Everybody else can lie to you. Your mama, your daddy, brothers, sisters, cousins, friends, strangers, they can all lie to you. But you can't lie to yourself because you got to make it up. And you know you're making it up. So send yourself out to get the answer. When it come back to you, you might pick a book up one day and read a passage, and that's the answer. You might be driving down the street, hear a song, that's the answer. Or you might just have an aha effect where it just pop into your brain. Boom, that's what it means.
For everything that I see like I don't like why every time I go and I send out to get that information, I come back with like all the answers to all the Loki missions. Like, why would I be being prepared? Am I just like a piece to the puzzle?
We are pieces. Nobody's the whole puzzle. Not even Big Mama. Big Mama is just the biggest piece. the centerpiece. The rest of us are just the other pieces that put it all together. One of the things that I had to do is keep asking myself, what do that mean? What do that mean? What do that? Don't nothing mean nothing until you give it a meaning. And when you send yourself out to get the meaning, it's going to tell you the correct answer instead of the answer that you've been given your whole life.
Hmm. Heirship. That's beautiful. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
And dealing with a lot of like just getting rid of like all the programming from a little kid, and finally just walking in my power.
The most powerful tool you're going to ever learn, go to YouTube and look up the art and science of self-talk. A whole bunch of videos will come up. And learn how to talk to yourself. Because you're going to give yourself more answers than anybody else. It's going to tell you where to find it, all that. But you have to start learning how to talk to yourself. And then your higher self will start guiding you to the answers. And sometimes it'll just pop in your head. Ah, that's what that means.
Can I tell you about this dream real quick?
No, I'm only gonna take two more people, so I'm gonna go on to the next person, and then the next time I come on, you hit me with the other dream.
Okay.
All right,
Appreciate you, Chief. Thank you.
all right, appreciate it. Thanks for coming up.
Of course.
Who's next? Somebody got to put in the comments to next because I can't. It's not bringing y'all up in the. Oh, there we go.
What's up, Chief?
Peace, my brother. What can I do for you?
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hey, quick question, cause I see you now puffing on your tree right now. I got a quick question, cause I've been a daily smoker for years, probably like it's been a while, but just this Monday over the past 4 days, I'm like, I want to kind of reset, go on a clear head vibe. But as far as dreams, cause you were talking about dreams too, like 2 people ago. Whenever I'm heavily under the tree, I don't have any type of dream. Like the REM is just like completely discombobulated. And now that I've just taken even 48, 72 hours, like I'm back having vivid dreams. Do you think it's tied into the trees itself that they're now putting out there? Like what is it why I can't access the dreams when I'm token versus when I go on those breaks? Because I always have vivid
Because
dreams and
you have them while you're awake.
while I'm awake. I
Mm-hmm.
do get downloads during the day. That's true, correct. But so is that all I have? I can't access that during the nighttime or when I'm sleeping.
You don't have to.
Mm.
Some of us have to. You don't have to. You
Okay.
haven't realized how the universe is talking to you yet. As soon as
Mm.
you realize it, your waking psychic ability is gonna kick in like mad. Once you put them glasses on, you can't take them off though.
Yeah. Okay. Cause I mean, it's even like I like the last time I can remember was probably about a year ago. I took like 2 weeks off, went out into the park, did some grounding, and then when I did smoke, I had all these downloads that just rushed me like for 2, 3 hours. Like I had a notebook that I brought out there, a journal, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff like creations, divine downloads and different things was just coming to me. So I don't know if I'm over consuming where I need to cut back. Like I'm gonna take a little while off, but I just feel like I didn't know if it was me or if it's the plan itself that's like causing the interference. But it's always like I'm getting a whole bunch of stuff whenever I start smoking about friends, family, like just all types of scenarios to where even now I'm getting back with my dream journal to try and recall when I wake up, what I can remember. But you're saying that I don't even need to be worried about dreaming at night?
No, you know how you be getting the downloads and you be writing the notes.
Yeah.
That's all the information you was gonna get in the dream.
Okay.
You dreaming
Okay.
while you awake. You don't have to dream when you rest.
Mm.
And so you going through. You think you just thinking. The
Yeah.
dream, all the dream is midnight thinking, heavy thinking,
Yeah.
while the body is in its most relaxed state. Because most of us in our waking state are so agitated with life that we can't get the messages. So then the dream have to come in and give us what we didn't get during the day. You have a unique ability. Everybody don't have that.
Mm.
And it's a strong possibility that when you're on the herb that you only have what they call emotional experience. You don't experience no visual or audio sensation. You just feel everything in the dream state when you smoking. Now,
Mm.
anytime you even me, I could take days off of smoking as a
Yeah.
fad, and then it's going to increase uh my visions. So I keep smoking so they don't crease because I can't take no more of this shit.
Yeah. 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 It get overwhelming. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, but while
Okay.
you off, um, puff on some mullein to help clear your lungs out.
Mullen.
Mullein.
Okay.
You
Okay.
could,
I
or
got it.
you could drink the tea either way. If you don't want
Okay.
to smoke nothing, you could drink it in a tea. But it's to
Yeah.
clear your lungs out, which will, and then go to YouTube and look up how to breathe like a singer. It's called diaphragm breathing.
Okay, okay. Yeah, my neighbor, he's a big like aqua dude and like that's one thing. He'll come over and use the pool and just be under there. So he's taught me a lot about how to breathe as well. But I'm gonna check that out as well. And also how you talked about the self-talk and talking to yourself and that last one,
Mhm.
that's something I think as well. Cause I'm big on affirmation, but affirmation without discipline is just delusion. So it's like just being able to move forward in that as well. So I appreciate that. And I also just was recently tapping into the transmission you did with B Dell, with Blue Pillar and Black Magic. And I'm thankful that you guys continue to spread the knowledge and wisdom that comes so effortlessly to you guys as the chosen ones. And I appreciate it. And I feel like I have my own calling of things I'm meant to inspire. So I just want to salute you guys because it allows me to keep going in myself and my journey as well.
I love them brothers, all three of them brothers. Look, this is the one thing you gotta assess your own skill set.
Hmm.
We about to all be put to work on the cleanup by Big Mama according to what our skills is,
Right.
right? So just pay attention to everything you know how to do. Like right now, if you sit down and write down everything you ever learned, that's
Hmm.
your resume. That's your resume,
Right.
right? And with AI, you could say if somebody's skills, what job would they be applying for?
Mm. That's true. Yeah, definitely. We all gonna have to play a role as we as it gets closer now because the clock is ticking. So it's like I feel like for me, I'm big into fitness and wellness, and then aside from that, just being a positive like motivator to people around me. Like in these dark times, a lot of people that have a lot of fear that have been placed in them from the media, from this person, that person, and I'm somebody that is like, look. We were all placed there for a reason and a purpose. So it's like we're not meant to move in fear. That's a weak emotion, and it's something that helps us in terms of flight or flight, and and moving and trying to protect ourselves. But at the end of the day, the Most High is all the protection that we need as long as we continue to walk the path. So I feel like we don't have no room for that. We're gonna have to be courageous, be bold, and be willing to stand up, for what we believe in. So I'm just glad, it's like-minded people around the world. I'm in Florida, like the last person that was, up, and it's definitely getting crazy down here, but that's everywhere. So, it's just trying to equip myself and make sure that I'm not having any blockages, from receiving the things I need to. So that's why I asked, like, was it me or is it something else, as far as just the trees? But, I'm going to just take that and just continue. Like I said, I'm on a break probably for a month. I want to do a solid 30 days. And then after that, reevaluate and see, how I'm feeling. So I appreciate everything, all the wisdom for sure.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, you got it though. You you waking up to your
purpose and you
Yeah,
do
and it's
stuff.
always because my mom, from young, she had me in church and this and that, and other people along the years have always told me like, "Oh, you might be meant to be a preacher or do this because I'm very eloquent, have a way with words." But that's never been me, like because of the negative stereotype that I even personally have of preachers and this and that. So it's just like I would want to inspire and push a certain message in a different way. But yeah, coming into it now is just like there's no time to have fear, be timid, like full confidence and all the talents, abilities, gifts, skills, not only that I have, but the people around me have to partner and work with each other to really raise the collective consciousness. So, like I said, I just appreciate what you guys are doing, and it keeps me going day after day when some of the people around me are not necessarily on the same wavelength, but I know there's a person here or a person there that's all trying to bring us together. So, salute once again. I'm not going to take up too much because I know you say you want to try and get like one or two more people in.
I'm gonna get one more after you, but here go the thing: when you run into people that with fear, tell them study what you fear
Mm,
because you only fear things you don't
don't
understand.
know. Right. That's real.
Yeah. Study what you fear. If you gotta fear snakes, go get you some snake books.
Yeah.
You got fear dogs, go study dogs. Watch series on dogs.
Yeah. I feel like my greatest fear is not doing all I was meant to do in the time that I'm here. So that's why I'm trying to make sure I do as much as I can, and with the time that we have. I don't know if it's on my end. It look like it's lagging or something. Let's see.